Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhakti Bhavati Neshtiki Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Sri Caitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadanti Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Dalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Namaham Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Shatahine Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 12, Text 48. Is the voice clear enough? Or
Today very clear.
I'm sorry?
Today very clear.
Oh, very clear. Okay.
Clear.
Okay, thank you. It's just because, yesterday I got to know that it's not very clear, so I was just trying to make it as better as possible. Okay, thank you. Shabdam brahmatmanastasya vyatavyatatmanaha paraha brahmava bhati vitato nana shakti upabrimhitaha. Brahma is the personal representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the source of transcendental sound and is therefore above the conception of manifested and unmanifested. Brahma is the complete form of the absolute truth and is invested with multifarious energies. The post of Brahma is the highest responsible post within the universe, and it is offered to the most perfect personality of the universe. Sometimes the Supreme Personality of Godhead has to become Brahma when there is no suitable living being to occupy the post. So because it's such an important position, Brahma has to create, he has to do the sub-creation, the living entities, the systems, everything. So it's a really important position. So Krishna has to see who is the most suitable position, a suitable person to be able to take up this position. Like we also see, right? If is the person competent enough to run a company, a big company, CEO? So then we need to, usually they find somebody who has this qualification. So Krishna also finds who is this person I can find. But sometimes he doesn't find that there is a suitable person. Then what to do? The creation has to happen. He himself takes an incarnation of Brahma. He has to become Brahma. So in the material world, Brahma is a complete representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The transcendental sound, pranava, comes from him. He is therefore invested with multifarious energies from which all the demigods like Indra, Chandra, and Varuna are manifested. His transcendental value is not to be minimized, even though he exhibited a tendency to enjoy his own daughter. There is a purpose for the exhibition of such a tendency by Brahma, and he is not to be condemned like an ordinary living entity. So here, Prabhupada is trying to explain to us that, yeah, Brahma did, he got this, he got this thought, let me enjoy my daughter. But because of this, we should not condemn him. We should not minimize his role. He's playing a very important role. And then he's saying there is a purpose. There's a purpose to show us that we are in the material world. We should be careful ourselves. We should not think we are perfect. Till the time we are in the material world, this material body, we are subject to the laws of the material world. So anytime we can fall down. We can become puffed up. We can become puffed up, oh, I'm engaging in devotional service, nothing's going to happen to me. But then that's again another illicit desire. So to save us from this, that anybody can fall down. So I can also fall down at any moment. Like Prabhupada would say, oh, you're already fallen. He was telling one of the devotees, because the devotee said, oh, he's fallen down from his position. Prabhupada said he was already fallen. What do you mean? Let him come. Don't reject anyone. Prabhupada never would reject anyone. Somebody who was trying to become a devotee, who then would leave the temple but wanted to come back again into Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada was always very happy to bring them back. And people who would go away, Prabhupada was always trying his best to bring them back, because he knows our tendency, how it is in the material world. So, tato aparam upadaya sasargaya manodade. Thereafter, Brahma accepted another body in which sex life was not forbidden, and thus he engaged himself in the matter of further creation. So he had given up one body, and then he's taken up another body. In his former body, which was transcendental, affection for sex life was forbidden, and Brahma, therefore, had to accept another body to allow himself to be connected with sex. He thus engaged himself in the matter of creation. His former body transformed into a fog, as previously described. So the body which he gave up turned into a fog. Rishinam bhuri viryanam api sargam avistritam gyatva tadridaye bhuyas chintayam asha kaurava. O son of the Kurus, when Brahma saw that in spite of the presence of sages of great potency, there was no sufficient increase in population, he seriously began to consider how the population could be increased. So in the beginning, there are just a few beings, not really. The whole universe has to be populated. Aho adbhutam etan me vyapritasyapi nityada nahi edhante prajanunam devam atra vighatakam. Brahma thought to himself, alas, it is wonderful that in spite of my being scattered all over, there is still insufficient population throughout the universe. There is no other cause for this misfortune but destiny. So he is just worried of how he can do his service properly. Evam yukta kritastasya devam chave kshatastada kasya rupam abudvedha yat kayam abhichakshate. While he was thus absorbed in contemplation and was observing the supernatural power, two other forms were generated from his body. They are still celebrated as the body of Brahma. Two bodies came out from the body of Brahma. One had a mustache and the other had swollen breasts. No one can explain the source of their manifestation, and therefore until today they are known as the Kayam, or the body of Brahma, with no indication of their relationship as his son or daughter. So it seems that two personalities, two bodies came from the body of Brahma. And one had a mustache and other swollen breast. But we don't know if that was a man or a woman. There's no indication of the relationship as his son or daughter. There's no indication of these two personalities. Tabhyam rupa vibhagai vibhagabhyam mithunam samapadyata. The two newly separated bodies united together in a sexual relationship. So, yastu tatra pumanso abhun manu swayambhuva swarat stri yaschik chatarupakya mahishi asya mahatmanaha. One of them, the one who had the male form, became known as the Manu named Swayambhuva, and the woman became known as Shatarupa, the queen of the great soul Manu. Oh, okay, so here there's written these two forms. One of them, the one with the mustache, he became known as Manu, named Swayambhuva Manu. And the form with the swollen breast, that woman is known as Shatarupa, the queen of the great soul Manu. So they are husband and wife. Tada mithuna dharmena prajahi edham babhu vire. Thereafter, by sex indulgence, they gradually increased generations of population, one after another. So Manu and Shatarupa were created for this purpose, because Brahma was thinking how to populate the universe. So that was it was their role to play. Sa chapi Shatarupa yam panchapatyani aji janat priyavat Ratotana Tishra Kanyascha Bharata Akutir Devahutischa Prashutir Iti Sattama. O son of Bharat, in due course of time, he, Manu, got in Shatarupa 5 children. So Manu and Shatarupa, they combined and they begot 5 children. The 2 sons, Priyavrata and Uttanapad. Uttanapad is the son of Dhruva Maharaj. So Dhruva Maharaj's grandfather's name is Swayambhuva Manu, and great-grandfather is Brahmaji. And that's why he prayed to Krishna that I want a kingdom which is greater than Lord Brahma. So Krishna gave him the pole star, because Lord Brahma is the Lord of this whole universe, right? The material world, the material universe. So then Krishna had to give Dhruva something higher than that. So the pole star, that is a Vaikuntha planet. It's a Vaikuntha planet. It is inside this material atmosphere, but it is Vaikuntha. And Priyavrata, we are going to be hearing about him more in detail in the 5th canto. And 3 daughters, Akuti, Devahuti, and Prashuti. So Devahuti is Kapila Muni's mother. So we can see that great personalities were begot by Manu and Shatarupa. Akutim ruchaye pradat kardamaya tu madhyamam daksha yadat prasutim cha yata apuritam jagat. The father Manu handed over his first daughter Akuti to the sage Ruchi, the middle daughter Devahuti to the sage Kardama, and the youngest Prashuti to Daksha. From them all the world filled with population. So we had heard earlier that Brahma had created this Daksha, Kardama, Ruchi. The history of the creation of the population of the universe is given herewith. Brahma is the original living creature in the universe, from whom were generated the Manu Swayambhuva and his wife Shatarupa. From Manu, 2 sons and 3 daughters were born, and from them all the population in different planets has sprung up until now. Therefore, Brahma is known as the grandfather of everyone, and the personality of Godhead, being the father of Brahma, is known as the great-grandfather of all living beings. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 11.39 as follows. Vayur yamo agnir varuna shashankaha prajapatistvam prapitamahascha namo namaste astu sahasra kritvaha punascha bhuyo api namo namaste. You are the Lord of air, the supreme justice Yama, the fire, and the Lord of rains. You are the moon, and you are the great grandfather. Therefore, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you again and again. This is the verse spoken by Arjuna in the 11th chapter after Krishna showed him the universal form. After Arjuna requested to see the universal form, Arjuna was offering prayers to him. And there he's mentioning Krishna as the great grandfather. So why is he referring him great grandfather? Because he's the father of Brahma. And Brahma is the grandfather of everyone. Why? Because Brahma is the father of Manu. And Manu is the father of mankind. So Manu is the father. Brahma is the grandfather. And Krishna is the great grandfather. This is how the relationship is mentioned. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 3rd canto, 12th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam entitled Creation of the Kumaras and Others. Any comments? Anything to add?
Okay, just want to know that Brahma also, that means he had a material body, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Brahma's body is different than Krishna's body. Yes.
Different, right? Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Because though he came from Garbhodakshai.
Yes.
I was wondering. Okay.
Yeah. That's what we had heard earlier. You know, when Brahma saw Garbhodakshai, Vishnu was there and he's come. But then this point was clarified. Yeah.
The body.
Material body.
Okay.
So we'll continue reading chapter 13, the appearance of Lord Varaha. So text 13, chapter 13, text 1. Shri Shukovacha Nishamya Vacham Vadato Mune Punya Tamam Ripa Bhuya Papracha Kauravyo Vasudeva Kathadritaha. Shri Shukadev Goswami said, O king, after hearing all these most virtuous topics from the sage Maitreya, Vidura inquired further on the topics of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which he adored to hear. The word adrita, is significant because it indicates that Vidura had a natural inclination for hearing the transcendental message of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he was never fully satisfied, though continuing to hear those topics. He wanted to hear more and more so that he could be more and more blessed by the transcendental message. So we should try to develop this Ruchi, Vasudeva Katha Ruchi, that we should try to get this. The more we hear about Krishna, the more we will be attracted to hear more about him. Initially, we may not like to hear, so we just have to hear it that, okay, it's good for me. This is good for me to hear. We like to hear other things. You know, we like to hear what happened, what she did, what he did, where did he go, where did she do? Or we like to hear about the entertainers. You know, on the news, this is all what it is, because everyone has a desire to hear. We are wanting to hear the news. Well, it's good to hear the news to know a little bit, but you know, not 24 hours. So we should try to hear more and more about Krishna, topics of Krishna. And that's what Vidura is having, this desire to hear about Krishna. Vidura Vacha.
Sorry, so the desire to hear means it's Aditya. Is it? Aditya.
Aditra, one who so adores.
Adores.
Adores. He adored, he adores hearing about Krishna.
No, so-
Vasudeva Katha is the pastimes of Krishna, topics of Krishna. Nishamya, hearing. Nishamya was hearing.
Okay.
So after Vidur's, because Maitreya was getting into the technicalities, how time, he spoke about the time, and then he spoke about how Brahma is creating everything. Now Vidur wants to hear more about Krishna's pastimes.
Okay.
Actually, this creation of the material world is also a transcendental pastime for Krishna, because anything Krishna does is transcendental.
Mm.
Yeah? So the creation is also his Ras-Lila. As we heard before, that Mahavishnu's Ras-Lila with Maya Devi. With the material energy. Viduruvacha Savai Swayambhuva Samrat Priya Putra Swayambhuvaha Pratilabhya Priyam Patnim Kim Chakara Tato Mune. Vidur said, O great sage, what did Swayambhuva, the dear son of Brahma, do after obtaining his very loving wife? So the story is continuing now. Charitam tasya rajar sher adi rajasya sattama bruhi me shada dhanaya vishva shena shrayohi aso. O best of the virtuous, the original king of kings, Manu, was a great devotee of the personality of Godhead Hari, and thus it is worth hearing of his sublime character and activities. Please describe them. I'm very eager to hear. So as we continue reading in Bhagavatam, we are going to hear a lot of names. A lot of names, And then we might say, oh, what has it got to do with me? But when we are studying in school, we hear of so many names, right? The historical figures, but those books keep changing. And they're different in different countries. And then they keep changing as the time moves on. Maybe the history books we read 40 years ago would be different now what's being taught in that same school. So the names keep changing. But for someone to be mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, how great they must be. That even after 5,000 years, we are hearing about them. And this creation happened millions of years ago. And they are mentioned in the Bhagavatam. And so since millions of years, people are hearing about them. And so just by hearing their names, there is purification. Because Bhagavatam is like that, very purifying. So Srimad Bhagavatam is full of the transcendental topics of the personality of Godhead and his pure devotees. In the absolute world, there is no difference in quality between the Supreme Lord and his pure devotee. Therefore, hearing the topics of the Lord and hearing of the character and activities of the pure devotee have the same result, namely the development of devotional service. So Manu, Swayambhuva Manu, a great devotee of the Supreme Lord. Shrutasya pumsam suchira shramasya nanav anjasa suribir idito arthaha tattad guna no shravanam mukunda padara vindam hridayeshu yesham. Persons who hear from a spiritual master with great labor and for a long time must hear from the mouths of pure devotees about the character and activities of pure devotees. Pure devotees always think within their hearts of the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead who awards his devotees liberation. So now we are being explained why we should hear about the pure devotees. Because the pure devotees, what is their consciousness fixed on? On the lotus feet of Krishna. So by hearing the topics of pure devotees, automatically we are also hearing the topics of the Lord. The pastimes of the Lord and the devotees, they're always connected. because a devotee is reciprocating with the Lord, and the Lord is reciprocating with the devotee. Like Lord Caitanya, he would hear again and again about the pastime of Prahlad Maharaj and Dhruva Maharaj. Again and again, he would hear Bhagavatam every day from Gadadhar Pandit. And then Gadadhar Pandit would narrate the story of Prahlad Maharaj. As it would finish, Lord Chaitanya was saying, no, you read it again now for me. He would enjoy, he would relish that the mood the devotee has, the love the devotee has for the Lord, and how the Lord is reciprocating with that love, Lord Chaitanya is the Lord himself. So hearing that his devotee loves him so much, he's feeling so happy and his love is increasing so much. And also he's teaching us that we should also hear the topics of the pure devotees. It's purifying for us. We can try to imbibe the mood of the pure devotee. The whole thing is not how much I can do, but the thing is, how am I doing it? What is my attitude? Krishna consciousness depends on the attitude of the follower, of the devotee. Now, what is our attitude? What is our intention? What is our motive? That's important, and that we hear that we imbibe when we are hearing about the pure devotees. Transcendental students are those who undergo great penance in being trained by hearing the Vedas from a bona fide spiritual master. Not only must they hear about the activities of the Lord, but they must also hear about the transcendental qualities of the devotees who are constantly thinking of the lotus feet of the Lord within their hearts. So the criterion is set, okay, that we are hearing about the Lord and we are hearing about the pure devotees. Now, who are the pure devotees? Constantly thinking of the lotus feet of the Lord within their heart, constantly. So it doesn't mean like for a minute a day or 1 hour a day or 2 hours a day, constantly. So that's a pure devotee. But of course, there was one devotee asked Srila Prabhupada, how many pure devotees are there on the earth, on this planet right now? So this devotee thought Prabhupada might say 1 or 2 or 3. But Srila Prabhupada asked him, how many devotees we have in our movement? And at that time, there were about 5,000. So the devotee said, there are about 5,000. Then Srila Prabhupada said, okay, so there are about 5,000 pure devotees on the planet. He said, anyone who's chanting the 16 rounds and following the 4 regulative principles, who has accepted the process, taken the initiation, they are all pure devotees because they are in the process. They're in the process. So they are pure devotees. Then how do we understand it? Yes, there are also levels of pure devotees. So anyone who's taken a bona fide initiation into the process of Krishna consciousness, chanting 16 rounds, following the process, following the 4 regulative principles, all are pure devotees. And then there are more and more, then there is degrees or levels of pure devotees. Somebody might be even more surrendered to Krishna. So then he's even more pure. His attachment to Krishna will be greater and greater. So even in pure devotees, there are levels. So here is mentioned one who is constantly thinking of the lotus feet of the Lord. We should hear about those pure devotees. A pure devotee of the Lord cannot be separated from the lotus feet of the Lord for even a moment. Undoubtedly, the Lord is always within the hearts of all living creatures, but they hardly know about it because they are deluded by the illusory material energy. Krishna, although he's been in our heart since millions of lifetimes, millions of bodies we have taken, he has never left us alone. Never. Like a parent is with his child all the time, Krishna has been with us. But we are that child throwing a tantrum, the rebellious child, turning our face away from Krishna. We are the one who's disregarding his presence. That's what is material conditioned life. The devotees, however, realize the presence of the Lord, and therefore they can always see the lotus feet of the Lord within their hearts. So, but a pure devotee, what does he want? He wants only Krishna. So he's all the time attached to Krishna. You know, we have seen how some children, they're so attached to their parents, to the mother, especially when they are really young. They don't want to leave the mother even for a moment. And so the mother also doesn't want to leave the child even for a moment. That loving relationship is there. So that is how the pure devotee is with the Lord. Such pure devotees of the Lord are as glorious as the Lord. They are, in fact, recommended by the Lord as more worshipable than himself. Even Lord Shiva says that to Parvati ji. Parvati asks him, what is the best worship? What is the best means? What is the best worship that I can do? Lord Shiva said, worship of Lord Vishnu or Krishna is the best. Then he said, but higher than worship of Lord Vishnu or Krishna is the worship of Tadiya of Vishnu. Means the things, paraphernalia connected to Vishnu, related to Vishnu. And those are the devotees, the pure devotees. So worship of the pure devotees is higher. This is how great Krishna is. He's God. He's God. He could have said that worship of me is the highest. But what did he say? No, you worship my devotee and that is higher than worshiping me. If somebody is directly my devotee, worshiping me directly is not my devotee, but one who is worshiping my devotee is actually my devotee. How humble is he? You know, he's God. He could have said, no, you worship me and that's the highest. But he doesn't do that. He doesn't do that. Worship of the devotee is more potent than worship of the Lord. It is therefore the duty of transcendental students to hear of pure devotees as explained by similar devotees of the Lord, because one cannot explain about the Lord or his devotee unless one happens to be a pure devotee himself. So Bhagavatam is all the pastimes of the pure devotees of the Lord and of the Lord himself. The pure devotee is always thinking of the Lord. So all his activities are in relationship with the Lord. And what is the Lord doing? He's never alone. He's always with his pure devotees. You know? So it's the same. It's the same. So it is so what we have to do, hear and chant. That's all we have to do, hear and chant. That's our greatest benefit. Is that okay?
Yes.
So we should hear from the pure devotees, about the pure devotees who are attracted to Krishna and who can give us that attraction for Krishna. You know, like that. So they're teaching us how to be attracted to Krishna. They're, yeah, because that's what we need to do.
The pure devotees is like the medium, no? To
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Yes. Krishna. Like how they said the guru is a medium, no?
That's right. Yes.
There was one, I think on WhatsApp, I had something had come, like, you know, they said that question came up that if Krishna, if God is there and the guru is there, whom do you bow down? First, you know, pay your obeisances. So it says that first you pay your obeisance to guru because he's the one who showing you the path, you see.
Yes.
You wouldn't know anything about Krishna.
Yes.
Right? So how is it? So it's so first you pay your obeisance, you bow down to guru, and then yes, then you know. So first is to
Yes.
so it's a pure devotee, right? Guru is what?
Yes. Guru, yeah. A guru is someone, only
Yeah.
if he's a pure devotee can he become a guru. Yeah.
Guru, and he only talks about
Krishna. Yeah.
Krishna, right? Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Yes, so true. That's why when we bow down before the deities, the pranam mantra, we are saying the Guru pranam mantra.
Yes. Right.
You know, when we are bowing down to the devotee, to the Lord, when we are seeing the deity in the temple, we are saying the pranam mantra. If we are already initiated, we are saying the pranam mantra of our Guru.
Guru.
And if
Right.
not, if we are surrendered to Srila Prabhupada, we are saying pranam mantra of Prabhupada. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste
Right.
Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prachayani Seshwani Paschati Deshata. Yeah, he's the one who's taking us to Krishna. Yeah. And even in the Mangal Aarti, the Mangal Aarti which is performed in the temples is Guru Ashtakam. You know, in all the temples except in Vrindavan. In Vrindavan, the Mangal Aarti is the what's that? I'm forgetting the name. Vibhavari Shesha. All the pastimes of Krishna. But everywhere else, the Mangal Aarti is the Guru Ashtakam, glorifying the Guru. That without the mercy of the Guru, we cannot approach Krishna. And how the Guru is engaged in the most confidential services to Krishna. And how by pleasing Krishna, we can please Guru. By displeasing Krishna, Guru, we are displeasing Krishna. Thank you. Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So we'll stop here for today.
Yes.
Okay. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande, Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.